This is Crime Boss Rockay City. We're here on PlayStation 5. Be sure to like the video. Subscribing is great as well. So this is something I checked out previously on the Xbox, and I saw it here on the PlayStation 5, and I was like, yeah, you know what, I'll take another look at it. What exactly is this game? Think Payday, but sort of like with a weird selection of random celebrities, giving the most mixed selection of like voice acting quality and effort you've maybe ever seen. It is genuinely a fascinating sort of game from that perspective. And honestly, just a bit weird. It's like, it's not mind-blowingly amazing, but it's decently okay if you're sort of into a heisting kind of game. Like, it's alright. It really is. Like, it's aggressively okay. That's the biggest thing, is it's, you know, it offers a variety of things, and they have added content to this one over time, and they seem to be adding more content to it. So to a degree, it's kind of impressive. I wanted to get rid of the pistol, not my shotgun. What can I do sometimes, eh? Anyways, did you grab my shotgun? Okay, I'll take the assault rifle. That's pretty good. So what are we getting here? Well, there's two different graphical modes. We're on performance right now, which is 1080p at 60 FPS. Actually not too bad looking. And then you can switch from the options into the graphics, and you can choose the quality mode and apply that. There's also an FOV option. For sound, I did turn on streamer mode, as I'm glad they have that. Appreciate it. And I turned radio speech into the TV speaker because I literally cannot handle hearing them yell at me through the radio, through my controller. It was too much for me when trying to play this. It was too much, PlayStation. Too much. So for the quality mode, it's 4K reconstructed from like 1080p, I guess, image that's running at like 40 to 50-ish FPS. So it's kind of like a future-proofed mode to some degree, I guess you would say. So it's not the best way to experience the game, but it is something, I guess, worth trying, as I do think visually it does look quite a fair bit better. But I think you probably want to have the smooth performance here. Maybe a PS5 Pro could accomplish that for us. So yeah, you go in, you do a bunch of different random missions, and that's kind of the basis of the game. There is multiplayer, like you're seeing, but there's also some like offline roguelike kind of quick little bit things. It's really hard to describe, because it really is, it's sort of, you're just doing these like runs where you're trying to go and gather loot in like really quick bursts of like levels. It's kind of odd. So I think the multiplayer is more of interest for people, and you can enjoy that at like, you know, up to 4 players kind of doing things. And then there's different mode options and a few different settings for this one. So like there is, you know, there is content to this, is the biggest thing I want to get across, is this game does have layers of like things that you can enjoy in this one, and I think it's okay. That's the biggest thing, is like, it is aggressively alright. It's hard to describe, because I know that's not necessarily like a resounding vote of confidence for it, but it's just sort of like, really feels just like Payday, but they tacked on some stuff. And I guess depending on your thoughts of the modern Payday experience that we've been given, this one might actually be an okay competitor in that regard. But that, of course, is going to vary a bit depending on, I guess you would say, you know, your feelings towards this game and how decent you think it is, or how much you like it, or how much you don't like it. So right now we're trying to find cocaine, which is not going well for me, because I did break the doll down and collected some of it, but usually it's like everywhere. I'll grab that, thank you very much. And then we're going to try to like get out of here with it, right? That's the idea, is we gather what we can loot-wise, and then we escape. And it's all just kind of hidden, and you go into different rooms, and you fight enemies, and there's an ever-scaling selection of, like, foes that are out here to try to kill you. It's an interesting concept. I think it's a little bit more fun when you're with, like, a squad. Kind of doing it like a squad of your friends, I think, offers a little bit more... Oh, that's not good. It just offers a bit more fun as you're able to actually, like, communicate and chat. You could be doing that in game too with people as well, and you know, I'm just kind of like jumping with these people that need another person, and you know, doing the missions and stuff like that, and just trying to give you an idea of things. Like, I do think it looks pretty good. You know, I'd say from like a visual standpoint, it's fine. Performance-wise, it's good. And it just really, yeah, that's the thing, is I find it just kind of like okay, and like I said, a bit odd. Like, I don't, to some degree, there's nothing like inherently wrong with the setup. It's just kind of like really okay, like I've mentioned, if that makes sense. It's just not too thrilling and mind-blowing. But since I last played this, I have kind of looked at it, and they've added a lot of content to it. They've done a lot of things with it. And I don't know if it's... Like, I guess that would be to some degree feeling as though it's improving and whatnot. But that's really going to come down to your sort of, like, interests player-wise. Because I think you kind of get an idea of how this is. It's like, you know, pretty decent environments. A lot of similar reused environments too. You play on the same kind of spots. But I mean, if you're playing like a Payday-esque kind of game, that is very much going to be on the cards, as it's going to feel similar to that style of gameplay, and that in itself is inherently repetitive and whatnot, right? And that works for that game. So it's good for like little bursts and whatnot. But as I said, like, it's mostly, for me, the multiplayer is the interesting thing here. Whereas the single player stuff, I don't really, like, I don't know, maybe you'll get some fun with it, but they're like really 2-second kind of things, and having a gang is kind of a neat thing. Like, you have a crew that you kind of do. Like I said, it's like a roguelike mode, so you sort of go through it, and then you see how much you can build up an empire and stuff, and then you get the voice prompts or voice lines and stuff for the voice actors. That's where I was saying, is it's sort of like that in itself isn't necessarily super impressive, because some of the voice acting is just like, it feels like some of them were just kind of sleeping on the, like, they just didn't really care, and it was sort of like, you get what you get. And I think it was even really, honestly, varying levels of like audio quality. Like, some of it was sort of like, oh, this was just filmed in someone's closet really quickly, whereas some of it was like, oh, this was a professional audio offering. And the mix between that is really odd. Like, there's some interesting celebrities, but it was sort of like, it feels like whoever was in the budget, they kind of just threw into this one. And just the weirdest mixture of actors being present. Actors that I think are, like, pretty well done past their prime and whatnot, and like, no, there's nothing wrong with that, but it's just kind of a bit weird. Oh, we actually got the mission accomplished. Nice job. And you could do missions with different approaches. Like, you can go in, you can blast stuff, or you could be a little bit more casual going, if that makes sense. Sort of pinning people, or, you know, just kind of, I guess you would say, tying them up and everything, and that in itself is kind of neat for your approaches and how you want to tackle setups and scenarios, so kind of neat. Let's dive into the next mission. I was saying that some elements of this are A little repetitive as we do literally the same mission, but I think that's mostly people like farming. But you get an idea of the cooperative play here because these guys actually seem to know what they're doing and put in a bit of effort to use some layering of stealth. I don't really get the point of being too stealthy. I mean, the cops are going to be coming. We're going to have to be shooting people no matter what happens. That's just how the game works, but, you know, whatever. We can pretend to do stuff. So, yeah, a lot of it is tying up enemies, setting up your grabs, smashing things, breaking stuff, going and getting your jobs done. You can be as crazy, easygoing, or intense as you want. You can use quiet, you can use...
Get to the diner. Watch for the police. Gotta move it. Check the gate to the pier.
And you can have guys like follow you. It's basically, as I mentioned, it's just like Payday. It really genuinely is. It's just got its own sort of stylistic flair that looks like it's somewhat out of like a Battlefield kind of game. You know, kind of the way the lights and everything are done. It's really interesting. But yeah, it's got like a decent fidelity and style to it. It's just like a weird kind of game to me to some degree. These guys really, I thought, were a lot more stealthy last time around. It's like they're just running in there this time. Anyway. Sure, why not? So some elements do change up, some things are different, but it is very much relatively the same sort of gameplay loop. And yeah, smashing kills, destroying things, taking stuff out. It just kind of varies based on your map-to-map style and your focus and everything like that. But I don't know, it can be rewarding. You get cash, you get unlocks, you build up better stuff, you get better supplies, you get better tools. I don't know if there's a crazy layering of, you know, repetitive play to this in the sense that, like, it feels different every time you go about it, but, you know, you'll either really be into what this has to offer or you'll kind of be in towards what this has to offer, and I think that's what I've been basically saying this whole time. I find this one okay. I don't think I could sit here for hours and hours and hours playing this, but it's alright enough that I'm sort of just into it, but not necessarily blown away by it. Like, it feels very, very average. But not bad average, but just sort of like an okay average. You know? It's kind of graphic, it's kind of violent. I definitely see this hitting a certain type of, like, target audience that would enjoy this quite a bit. Again, that Payday sort of thing where you're like, you know, I don't have enough Payday, I need some variety in that. Because that game itself can get a little loop-de-loop-loop, and you need some more variation, and I think this one is trying to fill that void and at least offer something a little bit along those lines while also doing something different. And it's nice that this kind of exists almost as an alternative and whatnot. And it just gives you that sort of mix of combat and gameplay and flair and style, and then you got that campaign where you can mix things up, and you've got this multiplayer loop that's kind of fun, and it's really easy. You just kind of find a lobby and you jump in and do some missions and stuff like that. Simple, accessible. People seem relatively nice too, and yeah, that's really kind of the game. And I'm assuming, like, because there's, like, turf war systems kind of in the campaign and how you battle for, like, turf areas with the roguelite system. And, you know, that does offer some layering of changing. It's just kind of funny, though, because I look at the multiplayer stuff and I'm like, oh, these missions offer quick matches, but there's a bit more to them. And when I say brief for that single-player stuff, I mean literally brief, as in it's a few seconds long, right? It's not very long. It's really, really weird. And just like some of the most ridiculous over-the-top stuff. I guess it's really trying to be a 90s gangster pop culture. And oh, they even say the cheesiest dialogue since VHS. You know, legendary Travis Baker, the single player. Yeah. I don't know. Essentially, they saw Payday. They're like, let's do that, but we'll hire a bunch of actors to kind of draw people's attention. That's our game. And that's what we got here. And as I said, it's not the worst idea. Like, it makes sense. I definitely get this. Like, I get it, and I don't dislike it. I think it's pretty fine and fun. But if you're looking for something that has a little bit more substance and depth to it, it's, I don't know if it's necessarily lacking in polish, as to say, but where you've got this like variation in sort of audio quality in that it's a little odd. Why did this guy not die? Who are you? Oh, now you die. Yeah, I shoot you with the shotgun a bunch, and you're just kind of like, whatever. What a bizarre experience this is. Rockay City. Permanent buff cards, extra bonuses. What I was saying, you know, they've got some levels of depth. They got some levels of fun. Ow, did I get shot in the back? I don't like that one a bit.
You have a SWAT chopper inbound. Chopper's coming through. Got this.
I got the bags. So I think for some people this style is probably what you're looking for. For others you probably are just like, yeah, so, but you know, it doesn't hurt to try it and see if you like it, if it's, you know, easily accessible for you. Just don't expect like the craziest level of easygoing replayability, because even coming back here and just doing this level a couple times, I'm already like, yep, I got the loop. And this mission you play like over and over and over and over again and over again on top of being over again. But the world detail, not bad. You can definitely tell that this is like something that's had some quality effort and stuff put into it. Are we gonna escape, or are they gonna try to grab some stuff? It's amazing how successful our gang is. You know, it's kind of like the equivalent of a group of characters in like Grand Theft Auto coming together to do a heist online, now that I'm really thinking of it. With the aesthetic of like a Battlefield 4 kind of thing with the flare, like the lens flare? Lens glare? I don't know. Whatever that is. Flares. Lens flares, yeah. That stuff. And it's utterly just trying to be ridiculous to the highest degree, and I think it achieves that to some level. What is Kid Charisma doing? We gotta get out of here. We got all the stuff we need. Like, are they trying to find more loot or something? I don't know. It's neat that the controller kind of makes some sounds with the shots too. That's pretty interactive. Definitely got a little bit of a more immersive element for PlayStation. I definitely will say that at times. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I didn't want to jump down here. I'm just kind of wondering what this guy's trying to do. Like, we have all the goods, so we should just get out of here. It's only going to become more and more hazardous because, like, you know, the difficulty's bumping up. The police signs are twirling. And I love that they give us so many options to tackle this, and my team's just like, we're just gonna shoot these guys. I'm getting blasted! Teammates, no! Watch, I'll get left behind. We're waiting for that one guy, and then I'm just kind of like, left here on the side. Thanks for saving me, Mad Specialist. I appreciate your effort and candidates in this situation. Alright, let's get out of here. See, the chaos, it doesn't end. The action of Rockay City just keeps rolling. I should have almost showed you more single-player stuff, because it's just ridiculous. Ridiculously silly. Get in the car! We got to escape, guys. We've got to get out of Rockay. Show off a little bit of the single player so you can see it in action, and just get a little bit of a different mission variety too, so it's not the same thing over and over again. I also forgot how, I guess to some degree, repetitive or how weirdly set up things are. So repetitiveness aside, the setup of like multiplayer versus single player is like this really weird, like little hub areas within the game. So bizarre to look into. But hey, I guess this kind of teaches you a little bit of the ropes and everything like that. It's not a bad looking game. It's not a bad playing sort of game, but it's just sort of the gameplay itself is just a little like, you know, so at times. So either you'll find this engaging or you won't, and that's totally up to your style of play and interest, eh?